Hello and welcome to this demo video. Before we get started, I'd just like to explain to you a few things which will relate to all of the basic range spreadsheets. Number one, there is a key on the intro and setup tab of all of the spreadsheets showing what the different color headers mean. The blue headers mean that the cell's formulated, so it's locked and you can't change it. The yellow headers are where you can input data, and occasionally there might be some gray headers, which is just a different kind of data input, but we'll include instructions as and when that happens. The other thing that you can be aware of is there are ways in which you can damage the spreadsheet. So please do take a look at the link where you see this image, which will take you to a web page to show you how to better preserve your spreadsheet. Please feel free to keep a blank version of the spreadsheet somewhere, so that if you do mess up a spreadsheet that you're using, you can in fact just open a new one, a blank one. And some of the spreadsheets only last for a year, and then you've got a blank one to start the following year. So do keep a blank copy as a backup somewhere. And lastly, wherever you see this image, you can click on it. It'll take you back to the store where you purchased this product to see if you've got anything, any more products. One last thing, to see a demo video, you can click on this on a link that looks like this in order to go to the demo video, but that'll take you to the most recent demo. If in fact we've done upgrades and you're using an older version and you'd like to see the demo relating to your version, then do click on the watch on YouTube link, which will take you to that specific video on YouTube. So I think that's all you need to know. So without further ado, let's move on to this demo video. Thank you.
Hello and welcome to the demo video for the basic business plan budget. Now, a basic business plan budget, it does what it says in the tin really. It is a budget that can go with your business plan. So this could form part of a business plan, whether it's for a new business or whether it's for an existing business, that's totally up to you. But what it does is you can put in figures of what you need to purchase before the business opens if it's for a new business. And then you can also put in your ongoing figures from a cost point of view and also from a projected income point of view, which will then give you a nice 5-year outline according to the figures that you put in. So let's just take a look. What you need to do first and foremost is just select the opening month and the opening year. So if you're going to start a business January 2020, just put those in. You can type the date in 2020, the year, and then just select the month from the drop down list. It will show you your starting date here. It will always be on the 1st. So you know what you're dealing with. Once you've done that, you're ready to go from the first page. Then what you can do is you can move on to the individual costs and income. These are your initial costs, your individual costs. They're more than likely initial costs before the business starts, but you may have to buy something after the business starts, in which case this is what you use. These are for once-off. These aren't regular monthly occurrences. These are individual one-off kind of costs or income. Income, potentially, maybe you've got something that you need to sell in order to generate income, whatever the case might be, you can put it in here. So what I've done is, first and foremost, you put the codes. Now, I've just put 1000 and 1010, but if you look online, you'll find all the official accountancy codes for all these different items, and there's a whole long list, and you can actually download the list for your particular industry. Why that's helpful is because it gives you a list of all the expected incomes and at least expenses that you're gonna need, and also the income. So it helps you to make sure you haven't forgotten anything. So I would suggest actually going on and finding those official codes and then using the codes here. The other reason why I say use the codes is because if the code ends in 00 like that, it actually converts it to a header. And all the accountancy codes are set up like that. So the 00 ending in 00 is in fact a header, whereas the one that doesn't end in 00 isn't. So if I put in, for argument's sake, 2000, it's going to go yellow as a header. If I put 2010, it's going to go white as an individual. And then also you can then sort by those numbers when you're done, and you can get everything nicely sorted out in the code order. So find those codes online, use the codes. They are quite helpful. Then you can put the item description in here, and then the dates. Now this one is not that it's not particularly important that you use the codes if you really don't want to, but they obviously there for if you do want to. It breaks them up nicely. But then you can use the item description, the due date. The due date is when you need to purchase it. Now if there's no set due date, but you just know you need to purchase it before that date, put in any date before the 1st of January, or in fact if you have a look here, you'll see it does go back 3 months. So if you put January, then it'll go back 3 months. So any date before October would be seen as a pre-business setup date. So even if you left that blank, it would just put it as pre-business setup. So if you have a date, put the date in. If you don't have a date, just leave it blank, and it'll go as a pre-business cost. Then just put in the value. So if it's an expense, put it in there, and if it's an income, put it in there. Now, once you can list all your one-off expenses here, as I said, whether they're before the business, whether they're in the 3 months leading up to the business opening, or whether they're after the business opened, it doesn't matter. Just put the relative date in if you know the date. And as you can see, you can scroll down. There are 1,000 rows, 1,000 entries that you can put in for all these one-off kind of costs. That is the first setup. Obviously, this is the things you might look up for setup costs, things like that. Then you've got to go to your ongoing costs and income. Now, this is slightly different. Same story with the code, so you can sort them. Same story with the description. Then what you do in the type is you either select income or expense. If it's an income, select income, and you'll see it'll turn that shade of green. If you select expense, it'll turn that shade of red. I've just put sales and expenses, but you'd obviously categorize all the different codes so you know exactly what it is that you're budgeting for. And then you can put in a value. So you can put in a value leading up to it, because you may need to start paying wages a month before if you've got people working to set up. You may have some ongoing costs. You might need to set up insurances and things like that beforehand. So I've got 3 months uh, uh, worth of entries here before you actually get to your proposed start date, and then the first year worth of values. Now, what you do is you can put in each month. So if you're seeing like seasons, if you've got like a coffee shop or whatever, and you're going, well, actually, winter's going to be far more busy than maybe the summer. Depending on how it works or whatever, you may have seasonal. You might project seasonal sales. So what you can do is you can actually put in each month what you're projecting. Also, you may have costs that only happen every quarter, or you may have costs that only happen once a year. So you just want to put them in 1 month of the year, not necessarily all 12. You can then put in the value that you foresee for the first year in all the different months that you've set up. Whatever you set up on your intro and setup tab will be the first month that you start. Then what you do as you scroll across is you project year 2, year 3, year 4, year 5, what will the proposed increase be? So in other words, if you've said your sales are going to be quite high in summer and low in winter, or vice versa, this 10% will update all of those accordingly for the next 5 years. So you can say, well, we expect 10% growth from year 1 to 2. In year 3, we expect a 20% growth, and then a 30%, and then a 20% growth. So you can put in the percentages that you expect over the next years. And also you can put in, obviously the same applies for your expenses, because your expenses may go up as well, but they may hopefully not going to go up as much as your sales. So you can put the values in there, the percentages, and as I said, you can list all the different things here. We've got 500 items there on an ongoing basis every single month. Knock yourself out, put all of those things in that you expect to see. Also, obviously, you can put in for the 3 months leading up as well. Your percentage increase doesn't affect these ones. These ones are standalone. Your percentage increase only affects the ones under the yellow headers. So these ones you can put in, because these may differ leading up to that. Last but not least, what do you get for putting in all of this information? Well, you get this report. And what this report does is it first shows you your initial period, which is your pre-setup. Then you've got your pre-open, which are those 3 months, October, November, December. Then you've got your 5-year period. And what it does is actually shows you initial and you can see at what point you're going to break even in that 5-year period. And when I say break even, what I mean is that the difference between your profit, your income and expense would be labeled as your profit, and that would obviously go back to pay back because here you're starting on a negative figure because of all the initial costs. And when do you actually get to a point where if you don't take any other money out of the business, would you break even? And it shows you your projection, red turning into green at the point where you break even. Here you can see your individual costs and where your individual costs would be. So income would be in green, costs would be in red. You can see they're all initial. If I put individual costs later on, you'd see them on this graph. Then you can see your ongoing income and costs, that would look like, your ongoing income and costs. And then here, if you go down, you'll see your combined, a graph with both your income and combined ongoing and one-off income and costs over the 5-year period. It shows you the time when you're due to break even. It shows you the number of months where you're actually, before you break even, how many months you've got to go until you get to that point. It shows you over the entire period your expenses and income projected, and then shows you an individual code report. So what you can do here, remember I said at the beginning, when you're putting in your codes, anything with a 00 will be a header. So if I put in a code of 1000, it's going to show all of these items. If I put in a code 1010, it's only going to show that, and 1011, it's only going to show that. So if I select, all the codes will appear at 1000, it'll actually show all of the 1000 items. If I show 110, it'll show the 110, the sales, and if I show 1011, it'll show that. So this is the individual report. As I said, you can select any of the codes, and you can see based on that. So if you just want to see sales, you can see what the code is for sales. If you want to see all 1000 codes, because obviously, as I said, the accounting codes will group them together, and you can select and it'll show you. So that is based on your codes. That's why you want to put them in. You got your plan break even point, number month deficit, you got your overall income and expense, and then the different graphs showing, the most important one probably showing where you're actually going to break even. And this, if you obviously then, depending on what you're using this budget for, if you show this to someone, investor or someone, and they think, well, that looks great, what are your actual costs? You've got all your costs lay out here. You may have to come with some supporting documents as to why you think you're going to make that kind of money and why you think you're going to have those expenses. But this is a very good layout to get your head right, to see what it is that you're doing, to get a nice, good budget going, see when you plan to break even, what you're in store for, and it will fit perfectly with your business plan. So if this is something that you need and this is going to help you, please do get hold of the spreadsheet. But I wish you all the best with your new business, and I hope that this really helps you. Thank you and goodbye.